Okay, so maybe looking at some trading ideas on the short side here in the healthcare sector. Remember, we let the market tell us what to do. Now, this is the healthcare ETF, XLV. This tracks the healthcare sector. And you can see it's testing this support level. Notice how there was support here, right around 150.80. Well, it's not a coincidence that when the market sold off, this is where it found support and rallied. There's support here because it was resistance over here. All right. You can see from July 16 through August 2nd, it was a resistance level. There tends to be support at levels that had been resistance, and this happens because of remorseful sellers. People sell, and first the market goes down, and they're like, "Oh, this is easy. I'm going to be the next, Wall Street guru." But then the price goes higher, and a lot of them say, "I made a mistake. If I can, I'm going to buy my shares back." So when the price eventually gets back down to the level that was resistance, if enough remorseful sellers are placing buy orders, the level that had been resistance can turn into support. And that's what happened here. So sometimes we rally off of support. That's because some of the people who want to buy start to sense there are other buyers coming into the market. This is why the price isn't going lower anymore. And they start to think, I know the seller is going to go to whoever is willing to pay the highest price. I don't want to miss out. So I'm going to increase the price I'm willing to pay. Before I said 151, now I'm going to go to 152. Someone else says, hey, that person went to 152. I don't want to miss out. I'm going to go to 153, so forth and so on. And it starts this bidding war that pushes the price higher. Now we're back down to the support here, and it could be breaking. So if we break, meaning we trade below it, that tells us that the people that wanted to buy are out of the way. They cancel their orders, maybe they finish their orders. So the people that want to sell when they come into the market are going to have a hard time finding buyers. They're going to have to push the price down to draw buyers in off of the sidelines. One clue that might give us some insight that support is going to break is notice this here. This is what we call a lower high. Markets go in peaks and valleys. And when the peak forms at a lower price than the prior peak, we call that a lower high. It tells us that as time is going by, the sellers are getting more aggressive. They're willing to accept lower prices. All right. Now, another interesting thing here is notice how we had this rapid move up here. So we're getting back into price levels, potentially, not a guarantee, we could move higher, but we're getting into these price levels where the stock, or in this case, the ETF, really didn't spend that much time there. We saw that one of the reasons why we get support is because remorseful sellers. Well, when you rip through these levels really quickly like this, and you even gap through some of them, there's not a lot of time for there to be this big vested interest to form. In other words, you're not going to have this large group of sellers probably who are going to be trying to buy their shares back. So there might be a lack of buy orders over here, which means the sellers are going to have to really get aggressive, and that could push us into a downtrend. So we can come look at some of the companies that are within the sector. Eli Lilly, United Health together are over 20% of the sector. Remember, the sector is the aggregate, right? This is the average of everything that's in the sector. So that means, just by definition, there's going to be stuff that moves more and stuff that moves less. We're looking at the ETF, is Spider ETF, and we're looking at the fact sheet here, which tells us what the holdings are. So Lilly, I don't know. I don't really see much there. Next biggest is United Health Group. Of course, we could trade the ETF directly, but we're just kind of looking for some ideas here. Now, we're a bit of ways here. I would probably get interested on United Health on the short side if we drop below this important 550 level. And we can see here, this is another example of the level that was resistance became support, but we're kind of a ways away now. Johnson and Johnson, and sometimes we don't find ideas, and that's okay. That's when we take our dog for a walk in the woods because we don't want to force anything. Like Johnson and Johnson, I'd probably get interested here. Maybe a couple dollars lower. It's around 162 and a half. I would say if this gets below 159, that's where I would get interested on the short side. Merck and a Beeve. There's the Abiv. Oh, this looks kind of interesting here for a potential idea on the short side. Yeah, notice how it's trending lower and it broke support. So again, the buyers who created this support here are out of the way. They finished their orders or they cancel their orders. We don't really know. But whenever you take demand out of a market, and that's what buyers are, it's demand, the supply side, meaning the sellers, have to really get more aggressive. sets the stage for a move lower. So support broken here. I mean, this looks like an idea here. I would say go short here as an idea, maybe buy some puts and cover once we get down around 177, 178. These are not official recommendations. I will be coming out with those soon, and you can all can pay me for them down the road here. And yeah, looking forward to that. Oh, here's all right. So this is kind of interesting here too. Let's see what we got here. Merck. Yeah, Merck is here's a situation where you get support at the level that was resistance, what we talked about, resistance here. So when we went into this sell-off, it's not a coincidence that this is where we found support. It's the same level that was resistance, but now this support is broken. So yeah, so I like this here for a potential idea on the short side. And I'd say I'd cover around 102. All right, what else we got here? Thermo Fisher. These are just the top 10. There's probably 30 or 40 different stocks in the sector, but this is just kind of a thought experiment. Yeah, this looks kind of weak here too. Now, I don't know if I pull the trigger here yet, but see how we're testing this support? Right, we get support at levels that were support before because of seller's remorse. There's people who sold back here who regret doing so, and they say when the price goes higher, and like, oh, if it ever gets back to my price, I'm going to buy my shares back. So remorseful sellers from here, placing buy orders over here, has created support at the level that was support before. If this support breaks, we have our rapid move higher here, and as we see, if we make rapid moves going one way, then eventually reverse and get back to those same price levels going the other way, there's a chance we make another rapid move back through them. So 587, that's at 589. I'd say if this thing gets to 586, 585, that's where I would draw on the short position. Abbott Labs. Nah, not see much there. Danaher, Amgen, Intuitive Surgical. Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. Well, this is kind of interesting here. Big move higher, overbought. Probably had some earnings here. But if the sector is weak, this will be okay. And notice this too. I mean, this seems a little, I guess, kind of self-evident in a lot of ways. But if something is going up, what's the first thing it needs to do before it starts to go down? And the answer is it needs to stop going up. So as you can see, we made this big move up here on Friday, but yesterday didn't do anything, and today we're coming down a little bit. So this might be a reversal here, and my target would be down around here. Let's look at let's see the 5-day chart here real quick. Yeah, I would say if this thing gets this is a closer up picture here. So there's some support around 512. So I would say if this gets below 512, maybe 510, that's where you jump in, and my target would be down around 495. And Danaher and Amgen. It's really, if you just let the market kind of tell you what to do, your life's going to be a lot easier. Don't come in with preconceived ideas. Now, I don't see much here because we're still kind of above this support here. But if we do really start to head lower, we got this gap here. When we see support above a gap, that's where we get interested. But we're kind of far away now. So pass on that one for now. And then we'll just look at it. Yeah, and I don't see much here because there's going to be probably going to be some support here, some support there. Okay. All right, everybody. Hopefully that helps. And I will be talking to you soon. Thank you.